What's good people? Now UFC 309 has just ended and it seems as though the majority of the MMA world has come off of the hype train that is Bo Nickal, mainly because of his performance against Paul Craig. A lot of MMA fans and a lot of UFC fans have now concluded that Bo Nickal is just not ready to compete with the highest and the most elitist, is that even a word, but the most elite UFC fighters, because he seemed absolutely afraid of Paul Craig. He was afraid to take Paul Craig down because he just felt as though his American wrestling could not stop Paul Craig's Scottish jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be. But a lot of fans are now fully of the opinion that Bo Nickal is absolutely delusional if he thinks he, at this current version of him, can take on Khamzat Chimaev. Now, when Bo Nickal started, a lot of the hype was that, is this the dude that could fight Khamzat Chimaev in the future and be the dude that is the unstoppable force meets the immovable object? But right now it seems as though, listen, Bo Nickal should not be on a pay-per-view again. He should be main eventing fight nights, or he should be a prelim fighter at this point. Fans are just not feeling Bo Nickal anymore. And personally, this plays into a deeper theme that I've noticed with the UFC. It seems as though it's been pushing a lot of the uncharismatic fighters, the fighters like Sugar Sean O'Malley, the fighters like Bo Nickal, putting them in these prestigious opportunities, putting them on prestigious cards to make casual fans feel as though these are the must-see fighters. You know, you got Sugar Sean O'Malley, who's been put on stacked cards or on premium pay-per-views that are exponentially expensive or out of the UFC budget compared to other pay-per-views, and it's all for the sake of presenting Sugar Sean O'Malley as this magnificent star, this huge star. And Bo Nickal has also been given this favoritism, this opportunity. He's been put on John Jones fight cards, he's been put on UFC 300, all for the sense of portraying to us fans that he is this megastar, he is this star that you must witness only on a pay-per-view event, even though he has not done much. And in that Paul Craig fight, he very much looked like a person who's only fought 7 times. And I've been asking myself, why is the UFC so obsessed with these uncharismatic superstars or uncharismatic MMA fighters? And it quite simply appears to be that the UFC is looking for that next American fighter, that next fighter who can tap into the casual American market and bring in those fans, that next Ronda Rousey, the next John Jones DC, the next Jorge Masvidal was very good with the Latin fans and the Miami fans. But it's been a while since the UFC has had like a proper dominant American fighter who is from the new generation, not a John Jones who is coming off of the old generation and translating into the current generation and still able to bring in the casual fans. It's been a while since the UFC has had a Chuck Liddell. It's been a while since they've had a Ronda Rousey, and it seems clear that they're trying to do that with Sugar Sean O'Malley. They're trying to do that with Bo Nickal. And for Sugar Sean, yes, he did become champion, but the dude has no charisma. When you hear Sugar Sean speak, you can tell that this dude is absolutely charisma-less. He is not entertaining on the mic. His fights are entertaining when he does get the knockout. He is absolutely enjoyable to watch, but when he is speaking in interviews or press conferences, he does not ignite the fans. The fans have to carry him. Bo Nickal too does not seem very much interesting. He's very polite. He's a humble dude from a small town. He does not have that Conor McGregor charisma. He does not have that Ronda Rousey charisma. You know, he doesn't have the aura. They don't have the aura. The only way that they build their aura is by doing well in the octagon. And in the case of Bo Nickal, he did not do well, and now it diminishes a lot of his aura. Hence, I feel as though the UFC has to go back and rebuild him. Let him grind a bit more. Stop putting him in these positions where the people who set the betting odds have him as a gazillion to 1 favorite. Let him go grind and graft and rebuild himself. You know, the reason we fell in love with Khamzat Chimaev, the mystique of Khamzat Chimaev, is because he proved himself on the lower pay-per-views. He was fighting back to back. He was like, Dana, I want to fight again. And he did fight again on another well, not a pay-per-view, but a fight night in Abu Dhabi during the pandemic. And people were like, this dude is a maniac. He proved himself. It wasn't as though the UFC was force-feeding us Khamzat Chimaev. It wasn't as though the UFC is like purposely, meticulously choosing his opponents like a Sugar Sean O'Malley before they give him a Yan. You know, it was like Khamzat was like, I want to fight anyone and everyone, and we were like, we want to see more of this guy. But with fighters like Sugar Sean, Bo Nickal, it feels as though the UFC is telling us we want to see more of them before we actually demand of them. It's more of a supply than a demand. While with Khamzat it was a demand. With fighters like Ilia Topuria now there's a demand, because these are dudes who are now proving themselves after having to graft and grind their way up to the positions that they're in. So I think that's the issue with Bo Nickal at this point. He was pushed a bit too fast. He was put there with someone like Paul Craig, who I do not know how or why people thought that would be someone he would easily run through, because Paul Craig has submitted people like Magomed Ankalaev, who is most likely challenging Alex Pereira for the title next. He has submitted Jamal Hill, who is a former light heavyweight champion. Paul Craig is legit, and I think many fans were kind of irritated with Bo Nickal now that I think about it, when he threw that overhand, and it was clear as day that he had Paul Craig stunned, and he just stood there and looked at him like, and fans were like, why is he not going for the kill? He didn't even shoot a takedown. While with a fighter like Khamzat, whether you have a black belt, a purple belt, a white belt, you're the best in jiu-jitsu, he is going to go for that takedown. You look at it with Islam Makhachev, when he went rushing for that when he went rushing to the ground with Charles Oliveira, even though Charles is a way more dangerous jiu-jitsu player than Paul Craig. These Russian dudes do not fear the prospect of going to the ground with someone who might be deemed as a dangerous foe on the ground. While the American wrestlers, man, I don't know, it's looking a bit bad, because Michael Chandler looked bad against Charles Oliveira. Bo Nickal's afraid to take Paul Craig down. You have Justin Gaethje when he fought Charles Oliveira the first time, afraid to go to the ground with Charles Oliveira when he knocked him down. It's not looking good, man. The only American wrestler who at this point shows that he is not afraid is most likely John Jones. Even DC, when he fought, he was not a relentless wrestler like a Khabib and all these Dagestani Russian guys. But let me know what you guys think. Cheers.